Welcome to the Grumpy Dungeon Masters. I am your host, Jay. My co host, Bruce the Beer Bandit, is joining me, and we have a guest today. Bruce, who is it?
Our guest today is Christopher Waples. Did I get that
Wapples?
right?
Wapples?
This isn't my vacation. What the hell happened?
We dragged your ass in here from vacation to record episode 150.
Ding, ding, ding.
That's right. This is a big one. It's so big that you weren't even going to be here for it.
No, and somehow I still managed to be here.
hmm So,
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Geark dragged you in.
yeah.
He did, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Uh,
thanks for joining us at least.
Yeah, I'm glad I can make it back. I went to Myrtle Beach, which is like 2 hours from my house, so we got back pretty early.
Oh,
We
so
didn't
you're
stop.
so you're actually at home, huh?
Yeah, I'm actually at home. Yeah.
Oh,
So
I thought you were sitting on the beach or at the beach with your laptop out and recording a podcast.
no, that'd be hilarious, but no.
That's what I'd be doing. I'd probably be
Yeah.
I'd be in a hotel room. Let's be honest, but I'd do it.
Bruce, funny enough though, I did bring a book with me in order to read it while I was on vacation. I brought myself the Monsters of the Week that you purchased me back a while ago.
Yeah, a long while ago.
A long while ago. I was like, you know what? I don't have some time to read, so I'll read through this book, and you'll be glad to know that I did not even open it up.
Of course
So
not. Of course not.
it's going to go back here on the pile where I had left it originally, and it's going to sit there and wait for probably another year.
Hey, if you're gonna wait for a year to read it, how about you mail it to me so I can read it, and then I'll mail it back before it's time for you to read it.
Yeah, it's a
Because
good plan.
I actually will read it.
Well, I mean, I got distracted. There was the beach and fun with my family. And we watched the new One Piece, which was fantastic and the best anime adaptation ever to live action. So we had a pretty busy week. Oh, we went to Medieval Times, and I shit you not, there was a guy there that was like, "Hey, can I buy one of these swords and like wave it around during the show?" And the guy was like, "No, you can't do that."
Oh my god.
I don't
Is
have
it
any topics for this week, so at least you have that.
that's fine. We were going to talk about nothing but Pathfinder, so I'm
Ooh.
sure this will be great for you.
Okay. Oh no, I'll be happy to just shit on it as much as I can.
Yeah, we know.
Wow. We could have talked about Monsters of the Week.
Could have. Yeah, but you
Could
didn't
have.
read it. Let's see. I'm googling this because I am not super familiar with it, but in the same manner that D&D does their own playtest stuff, Paizo does it as well, and they are playtesting what is referred to as the War of Immortals. And what this is, it because of the whole OGL fiasco, Paizo is trying to move away as much as possible from their previous material to get as far away from Dungeons and Dragons as possible so they don't ever have to worry about that shit again. So
Okay.
they're writing a new storyline, they're adding some new classes, they are making some rules changes along the way. I guess this is going to be Pathfinder 2.5 whenever this
Okay.
fully comes out. But the War of Immortals, there's very little they actually have released about it, but apparently they're going to have sort of a god war or something that's going to change the face of their planet.
Again.
Oh, is it an again thing?
Well, I mean, like they had a whole thing, and then I'm sure you've heard of it when you're looking through some of the source materials about Starfall, when one of the gods died, and then a star came down, and it reshaped the whole planet. I mean, and
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
the elves knew about it, and they left to a fucking another planet and another like dimension, and then they came back, and they're like, "Hey, humans, why the fuck are you in my old cities?" They're like, "You've been gone for thousands of years." We're like, "Well, we're still alive."
We're
So that
back.
we want our shit back. So like, yeah, uh, they like to shift and do things in Paizo all the time.
I mean, it's a good thing. Keep things fresh, new ideas, and honestly, if you're throwing out that level of story stuff or that often of story stuff, you get to release a lot more material on it.
Yeah, I mean, like I think it's great some of the things they did. So like in the very first adventure path they ever did, it's called The Rise of the Rune Lords. And the Rune Lords were like super kick-ass wizards from like before the Starfall. And they found a way to like hide themselves. And then one of them who was like she treated herself as like a goddess of revelry and sex and all that kind of stuff. Like 19, I don't know, maybe even 30 different adventure paths later, she's like helping the heroes on one of the things, and then it leads to her actually reclaiming some of her lands again, and she's now the ruler of it. So like they change kingdom shapes and map shapes and stuff all the time. So like it's never just, oh, Thay is still there, the border is still Thay's border, and it doesn't change. You know, and this the kingdoms go up and down in Pathfinder all the time, and so you got to kind of stay on the lore, or just to be interesting.
Yeah, that is more akin to say Dragonlance or possibly even Greyhawk. I didn't get to play a lot of Greyhawk, but I know in Dragonlance, Kingdoms Rise, Kingdoms Fall. They obviously they I don't think they released as often as say Paizo has with the Rise of the Rune Lords. Because what did that go up to? Level 20 or so?
Pretty high. Yeah. I mean, they don't, not all of the adventure paths go that high, but like, yeah, I believe so. It was at least 16 or 17, I think. Yeah, that was the very first one.
So at minimum, 4 levels beyond anything WotC has released for 5e.
Yeah.
I actually have the Rise of the Rune Lord book, and I've never even cracked it open because I've never played Pathfinder 1.
Did you get the hard box one where they put all the paths together?
Yeah, it's just one solid book.
Yeah, yeah. So I have all the individual original books because they come out, the mini section. So there was 6 books, I think. And then when the 10-year anniversary came up, that's when I bought the big book that you're holding. I got it
Okay.
too. And they updated some things and made some better stuff on there. They did
Yeah,
that for the Kingdoms one too, that they made the game out of.
yeah. I ended up getting a collection a while back, and I got all of the not every Pathfinder 1 thing, but all the core books, Rise of the Rune Lords, probably a couple of side books as well.
Did you get the Crimson Throne one? That's a good one too.
Don't think so, but I'd have to go get up and look at my bookshelf.
If you ever get the Jade Regent, that'd be right up your alley because that goes to Tien, which is your
That's Yeah,
Japanese.
that's their Asian flared one.
Yeah,
It's Karatur or Legend of the Three Kingdoms.
yeah, but you start in like one of the original places. You literally start in the first town that Pathfinder ever started in.
Oh, okay. And then you actually travel east.
Yeah, there's caravan rules they built. So yeah, you have to take your caravan out and you have to decide, like, are we going to circle up? There's rules for like how to fight with, you know, all these wagons and how to turn them and do things.
That's cool. What book is that in? That way I can look
But
that up.
it's the Jade Regent path,
Oh,
the Jade
okay.
Regent one. So
So it's specific to that one.
yeah, but once they put those rules in, they become optional rules for now on. So like they introduced caravan rules and they introduced their first try and romance like rules.
Oh, that's a big. I'm gonna say no on that one. Last thing I want is any of my players trying to romance NPCs of mine.
Well, it was a big part of the flavor in that one because one of the big NPCs was going back because she didn't realize that she was going to be her family was an offshoot of the royalties that died in the original thing. So like the PCs could possibly romance her and end up, her husband,
Her
or
consort.
her consort or anything like that, and so it was important. And then they had some big NPCs that you grew, if you were a Pathfinder from the beginning, you kind of grew up with some of these NPCs. You're like, they're all going with her because it was the original group. All the NPCs that were in the original Rise of the Rune Lords that helped you are now going on this mission that left the continent. So you're like, if you did all these adventure paths, you're finally going back. You're going back, and all these great people in there, and now you can interact with them more than you could have before. So I don't know.
I know some game masters would love having repeating NPCs like that. For me, that's a huge no-no. And it's me specifically. I don't like it- I don't like using other people's NPCs in general. And if it's famous NPCs, like I am never going to have a Forgotten Realms game where I run Elminster or
Yeah,
Jurist.
but it wasn't like that. These are people who were like Shayla was an elf that just hunted goblins in the area in the first one, and she would help you occasionally. She became it was like revisiting it again after like not seeing that same NPC for 10, 7, but she was only
Okay.
like a fourth level like NPC. But if you played those, in those first adventure paths, you've got to know some of the NPCs and things like that. I've told the story before. I don't know if I've done it for you guys, but I played in the Rise of the Rune Lords, and the girl who ends up being the Jade Regent didn't know it at the time, but my character actually married her. So I
Okay.
was like, when Jade Regent came around, I was like, oh fuck, I gotta play in this one because I'm already gonna be fucking emperor.
Yeah, yeah. Your PC became an NPC.
Yep. And I'm like, yeah, look at that foresight. I didn't know anything about it. I just that's just who I was doing. All she was is an innkeeper at the time, an innkeeper who used to adventure.
Have you ever actually had that happen where one of your PCs becomes an NPC and then one of your friends has to role play your PC because they're an NPC in their setting now?
Yeah, I mean, I occasionally seed some things in there, but I don't make them like a crutch to the story. Like that's
Sure.
for the PC to be. But like they might run across somebody. And then I have the one NPC that's in every campaign, no matter what I do. Fel Glitterbub. He's an owner. He's a gnome owner of a place like you can buy things.
Yeah,
Um,
of
but he
various
has
sundries.
multiple stores everywhere, and you never know which one he's in. Most of the times, there are illusions, but that are pretending the store.
So I had an NPC that was the same thing. I don't re- I, at this point I can't remember his name because I'm not using him in my current campaign. But he had a store. He had it in most major cities, and if you went into one of those stores, he was in that store. It wasn't an illusion. He was always just in the store. Because
That's why.
yeah, like all of the entrances just linked you to his store.
That's an interesting way of doing it. That's
Mhm.
why the joke was there was a time that I had a very real chance of buying the game store here in South Bend, and if
Yeah,
I did, I was going to rename it Fell Glitterbubs. It was going to be his store in this dimension,
that would have been awesome.
and just have a big painting done of like a gnome, and be over the register, and he's like, he's here, he's right there.
Yep, he's
I mean,
running.
yeah, if I get my own gaming store, I'm just painting Thaladred and this massive mural on the side, and
If
then I'll
if
have like someone draw stick figures of the rest of our group just
if
out
you
in the
if you
corner.
if you ever get the Waples, if you ever get the money to build your own gaming store, it needs to be in the shape of a giant metal helmet. Yeah,
just, 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 just find one of those old taco stores and just like reshape the sombrero into a helmet.
perfect. Yeah, exactly. Just this. What do they call the helmet that you wear at LARP? It's a bucket. It's not a bucket. It's a
A helm.
no. It has.
Um, there's a name for it. It's the same style as like the British World War I helmets. It's
Yeah,
just a mining helmet, honestly.
yeah. Like it looks kind of like a bowl with long edges.
It's a bowl with a flat brim, so objects
Yeah.
that fall on top of your head just bounce off of it and don't hurt you.
What
That's what they use
what
in
is
the trenches.
what does this game store smell like? Carne asada.
It was either that moldy, musty smell or carne asada. So I picked
So-
carne asada.
yep.
And the best part is you keep like the taco section still working,
Oh
so you
yeah.
sell tacos,
Yep. The
tacos and dice.
yeah, Thaladred's tacos and dice.
Yeah,
All right. Well,
Well, Greta's tacos and tokens.
or yeah, Daladred's tacos and tabletop RPGs.
I like tacos and dice. It's clean. It's simple. But yeah, uh, God, I forgot what we're even talking about at this point.
We're just talking about the mutableness of the Pathfinder realm.
Oh yeah.
That they change, each storyline changes different spots, and sometimes those change more than just where they're at. But it's always updating and stuff like that. So you get the next books and you can get the newer updated maps and things like that. And it's your PCs are the ones that are changing things for the better, sometimes the worse. I mean, they've even done Adventure Pass where you're playing evil characters. So like
Yeah.
it's not always the same what's due right.
Oh my God, could you imagine a 5e game where they actually made you play evil characters?
I know, right?
What the hell? I
Uh,
can't even imagine that.
Can you imagine a 5e game where they actually gave you what the canonical ending of the story was?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, they did it in 4e, right? Where they effectively were changing the world throughout most of 4e, writing all of it, and then 5e pops up and it sort of picks up where 4e left off. But
So
but
yeah,
nothing's in
for
order in
so
5e.
one thing my wife did on vacation, she had a chance to read a bunch of books. She read a bunch of the old Dritz novels,
Hmm.
and a lot of those take place during the Spell Plague. And the
Yes.
Spell Plague was essentially when the weave was gone and destroyed, and Mistra was dead, and the gods revolted, much like you guys were talking about with the Pathfinder thing. And 4E, in a lot of senses, is a different magic system altogether. With the powers and whatnot.
Hmm.
So it kind of worked out. Logically, you can kind of put those pieces together if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the Spell Plague, when all the gods were reborn and Mistra came back and the Weave came back, 5e kind of went back to the more traditional method of playing with spell slots, which was the way before the Spell Plague. So
Right.
you can kind of see that those narrative threads in there, intentional or not. So you could do something like you guys talk about. Like, it was very interesting to think about. Like, okay, if Pathfinder is moving away from everything D&D and WotC, are they going to use this as an event to kind of reset their world and actually move away from like even like the stat scores and go with something different, or
Unlikely,
are they going to go
unlikely
with a
they're
new
going to go
magic
that far.
system?
Yeah, I don't think they'll go that far because Pathfinder 2e has not been out that long. So
Yeah,
I don't think they want a complete and utter rewrite of the system. And honestly, I think if they did that, they would lose a lot of people that play
right.
Pathfinder.
And I think a lot of it comes down to the feel of D&D, and I guess Pathfinder does have that feel of D&D built into it, even though it's not D&D, and a lot of people like that feel.
Yeah.
So how
Yeah.
far can you go away from that without becoming tied down to what the official game goes with? Can you move away from the Vance magic system and have your own variety and still have it have that same kind of mystical feel to it? The
eh,
Vance system, for those who don't know, is the spell slots and
Yep.
how everything works out with the current wizards. Like, can you change that, or do you always have to keep that?
With Pathfinder, I think you stay there.
Yeah.
If you drop strength, dex, con, intelligence, wisdom, charisma, if you got rid of the Vance magic system, if you got rid of the you know, attack rolls being a d20, it would change what Pathfinder is too much. Like
Maybe.
2e is already very far away from where 5e is at. Uh,
Right.
so I don't think they need to change it too terribly much, but I think a lot of what they want to change is story and world stuff. Like no Duergar, no Dark Elves, things that are very, very ingrained in what Dungeons and Dragons is. I think they
Yeah,
want to avoid that.
but I mean, like, will they move away from it like Fallout, for example? So D&D has strength, dex, con, wisdom, intelligence, and charisma.
Hmm.
And then Fallout has special, which is strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck. Okay.
I'm surprised you remembered all those.
Well, I mean, it's special.
Yeah.
It is what it is. So, like, like I don't think, to me personally, that I know that there is a difference between special and the D&D stats, but really there really isn't. I kind of like special more because you kind of break perception away from wisdom, and wisdom kind of becomes its own kind of like thing between intelligence and luck.
So, just as as a note, though, Pathfinder 2e has actually broken perception away from wisdom.
Okay.
Perception is not a stat, but it is its own thing.
Yeah.
It is also your initiative score, because noticing things determines how quickly you react to things.
Yeah. So I mean, like, could you break away? I think you could break away from that, what D&D has, and have it still feel like you're playing D&D. Like I said, if they've broken perception away, that's great.
Yeah,
Because I hate wisdom as the catch-all skill for freaking everything. It
yeah,
makes no
yeah.
sense.
Agreed.
Um, but I like luck. Luck is also a good thing too. You could feed into luck in 5e, but I like luck as just a base kind of like thing your character could get, like as like an extra stat score. So that's why I like the Fallout special a lot. I think it flows better than the rigidness that D&D is. But like I said, the rigidness of D&D kind of have its own flair. The problem is they will never put anything extra in a con because they overweight hit points so much,
Hmm.
and agility is just a god stat, at least in fifth and fourth. So I don't know. So if Pathfinder moves away from that, I'm rooting for them, and I hope they find something that really works. But
Yeah, I really and truly, I don't think they're going to change their system very much. If they manage to find a way to do it without alienating their current player base, fantastic. I just don't see how you do that. You need your armor class, you need your hit points, you need your
well, I mean,
strict
you
dexcon,
you could
etc.
you could still keep all that. You could just put it in a different package, at least. Stop calling it strength and constitution and dexterity.
Sure,
Because
they could easily just change the words,
yeah,
but I don't. Nobody's going to do that because nobody cares that much.
I don't know. Like I said, the Fallout is pretty much the exact same thing, and they found something that works perfectly for their setting and how the game works, and with the vaults and all
Yeah.
that stuff, and actually
But it
it
was also
fits thematically.
it was a new thing when they did that though. Pathfinder's not new. Pathfinder's been out for 2 decades at this point.
Hmm.
Yeah.
If Pathfinder was a brand new game and they did that, I think that'd be fine. But as it's been around forever,
Yeah, because Pathfinder 1 is essentially D&D 3.75.
yeah. Pathfinder 2 it's definitely different from Pathfinder 1, but at the same time, it still feels close enough. Like I've been
Yeah.
running it lately, and I had one of my players because we had been playing 5e previously, and then we started playing this, and it didn't take him long before he's like, "Yeah, this feels just like playing third edition." He absolutely loved it because he just had so much variety and so many things he could do with character building and creating magic items and so forth, things that were not available in 5.
Yeah,
Goddamn
but
flat foots.
I will say that there's some of 5 there in Pathfinder 2.
Yeah, there is.
Like
There is.
the lower DCs on things, because in Pathfinder 1, it's not unheard of sometimes to have DC 25, DC 30 speak like more, like not like it's around all the time, but like
M-
they're there. But I felt like they
You
weak. I think Pathfinder 2 is weak in some things. So like your high DCs are 20,
no,
25.
no. Your high no DCs, especially for skill checks, are consistently 25 up.
Okay.
Saving throws are a little lower usually. Mind you, I'm at 10th. I'm running a 10th level game. Um,
Yeah.
but the DCs in Pathfinder are higher because you add your level to everything. So
Okay.
if you're first level, your skill has a +1 to it. If you're 10th level, your skill has a +10 to it.
Okay.
Kind of annoying every time you level up because you literally have to change every single skill, and I hate that part about it. But we've talked about it, I think, on here before. They did that so that they could have a range of when you crit and not only critting on like 19s, 20s, shit like that.
Hmm.
Like if you beat a target number by 10 or more, it is a critical success. But
Okay.
so because of that, you have to have they add their levels in, and it makes the range a lot higher. But they definitely didn't lower the DCs, but
That would suck for so many monsters in 5th.
oh yeah, I mean the monsters
There's
are a
so
little,
many high-level monsters that have 8 AC for no reason.
yeah, oh yeah, yep,
Is that
yeah.
is that a difference though with Pathfinder against D&D? Because I feel like in Pathfinder, a lot of the monsters have levels, like PC levels.
I mean, is that a D or a game master adding those? Because I don't see many monsters just out of the book that have like PC levels or
Yeah,
anything.
no book monster has PC levels. There is a
Yeah.
section in the DMG about how to make a monster with PC levels, but none of the ones published
Well,
do.
I guess
They
because
follow the formula.
you're doing your own story stuff, so you're just following but like the adventure paths, they're creatures like in Rise of the Rune Lords or something like that. There was a bugbear, and it had 2 levels of ranger, and it's bugbear stocks. So
That's cool. D&D should be doing that.
Well, like I said, there is a section in the DMG on how to do that, but they
Yeah.
don't build monsters that way. They have their own special formula for monsters.
Yeah, I'm just saying when you play if you're just pulling things out of the monster manual, I want it pure monster stats. But if you're writing a module, like Icewind Dale or any of the modules out there, there's no reason that they couldn't have had, oh, this guy is, like you said, a bugbear and he's got 2 ranger levels, or this goblin has one level of fighter.
Well, I
yeah,
think the reason why they don't is because the player levels are statted essentially higher than the monster levels than the
Yeah,
CR
but
yeah.
I mean,
is.
we already know the CR is garbage and doesn't work, so fuck it, do it.
Well, and
Yeah.
that might be a case, Jay. I know you're not much of you just do homebrew, but like there might be an experiment for you to run. Why don't you run Rise of the Rune Lords just to see? Like,
I doubt I would run Rise of the Rune Lord since it's first ed, and I'd have to make all those adjustments to bring it to Pathfinder 2e. But I know they are releasing stuff like that for uh, Pathfinder, so it might be something down the road. I do that.
yeah, but Paizo's so good about like the older Pathfinder 1 stuff. I think you could just go log on to Paizo.com and find the conversion done for you for
Yeah, but
free.
that requires me to do that. If it's not in the book, the physical book that's in front of me, that's not happening.
It's true, but the physical book was written before there was Pathfinder 2. So what?
Right, exactly.
But like they put out every, I think I think you get 2 new adventure paths a year because they do an adventure path each month, and adventure paths usually are 6 to 7 books. So, and then they're only writing them for 2e right now. So all of the ones for the last 2.5 years, maybe 3 now for 2e
Yeah, it's
are
been out a little while. There's a lot of books for it.
they're all for 2e. So
Yep. Yeah, whenever like maybe at some point. I'm still running my own shit for a few years now, so
but even if you pick them up in one of your halls, you take a look at it and you can see like the different monsters they put in there. Even like your chump monsters sometimes will have like 1 level of something, in there. It's not just the
yeah.
garden variety of them. And they love playing with templates too. So like I remember falling into an ooze, my PC's falling into an ooze, and it said it was a young version of the ooze. So like, and the young, so they love doing the little templates on that too. They'll combine a couple templates.
Yeah. I actually am a big fan of templates. I haven't seen any of that really. I won't say none of it, but very, very little for 5e. But third edition had templates for fucking everything, and I would use them constantly. Oh, I just need to add I want to add a devil package to this guy. There it is. Very simple.
Yeah, the Pathfinder likes putting fiend. I think fiendish is one of the templates you can do. Yeah.
Yep. All right. So let's chat just a little bit about the War of Immortal classes that they have released for the playtest. I know Waples hasn't even looked at them, but
I literally got home
no, I
and
know,
you're
I
like,
know.
"Hey, I'll be recording in 15 minutes." Linked one thing.
I thought you were at the hotel. I didn't know you were coming home. It's fine. There's only two, and we don't have to go over them super heavily. The first one is the Animist, and the other one I think was the Exemplar, was what it was called.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, so we'll start with the Animist since it's at the top, and the Animist is it's another divine caster. Lord knows they need another, you know, divine casting class, but that's what it does. But this one is a little bit unique in that you can sort of change up what you do through attuning with spirits.
yeah.
And
Your ancestors and stuff like that.
yeah, like it was kind of vague on it. And I know if I haven't not read the entirety of it. I've skimmed through it, read the parts that I felt like they mattered. Um, you get less basic spells per day, but at the same time, you also are attuned or able to attune to different spirits depending on where you're at. And
Hmm.
it did say that some animists actually have spirits that they never really change; they just sort of walk around with them, and then other animists will attune to every location they go to. It might be talking to some other spirits.
Yeah,
Um, Depending on which spirits you are attuned to will determine your extra spells that you get to cast. So
correct.
say you're in a forest, you might get to cast some spells dealing with Fey, or say you're near a volcano, you might get fire spells, depending on that.
And I think I read that because you get less spells, but your spells all have the heightened trait too. So you
Oh
get a
yeah,
little. I think you get a little meta magic for free, essentially.
yeah, yeah. You're able to do some stuff like that. There are two. I'm going to call them prestige classes, but I don't know what the proper Pathfinder term is for them. Uh, when you hit when you start out, you can either pick Channeler or the Sage. And I'm going to read the Channeler and then I'll read what the Sage is. Uh, so the Channelers tend to associate more freely with a wide array of apparitions as they are naturally skilled at acting as conduits for spiritual energy. While they tend not to form deep bonds with a single apparition, they are able to wield the power of multiple apparitions with great ease. Channelers are often travelers, itinerant merchants, or similar drifters carrying stories from town to town. They often associate with apparitions of local natural features they find themselves near, for instance, bonding with a steward of stone and fire when traversing a volcanic caldera. Uh, I like the sage. Sages are particularly sensitive to the presence and influence of spirits and undead. They can easily detect lingering spirits and help create resolutions between spiritual energy entities and whatever barriers are preventing them from resting peacefully. Some sages may even serve as go betweens for spirits that intentionally linger to watch over a site or community, allowing them to speak to the people they knew in life. Sages are often community leaders or educators and frequently associate with apparitions of fixed sites of power, like custodians of groves and gardens or other apparitions of knowledge. If I played this and I was playing a sage, I would be the I don't know what they call them. Chris, you know these crazy people, the spirit talkers, the ones that let the spirits be healed. Those kind of people.
No, the the what are they called? The preacher. The
Yes. Yeah, those kind of folks. Because one of the things that you get with the sage specifically, you get the apparition's possession, and when you're possessed, your healing spells heal equal to an extra equal to the level of the spell.
Hmm.
mhm. Evangelists,
Yes,
I think.
evangelist. Yeah, that's it. Evangelist. So I'd be running around, be healed, just slapping people in the face.
Benny Hinn as a character class.
Yeah,
Mhm. I take all of your money and buy luxury jets, and then I fly away, and you start hurting again once I leave.
yeah.
Mhm.
I would let. Well, that's a different class. That's a rogue. That's a con artist. This guy would
Yeah.
actually. This guy would be the real thing. He'd be the real deal. Where when he hits you, you heal.
Well,
He might take your
anyway,
money. He might take your money too. Not saying he wouldn't.
most of the evangelicals are con artists in trade, but
Yeah, I know.
um, uh, I'm weird. It's kind of weird. I guess they weren't leaning in any into getting like Christian or
No, they weren't. They
religious things for
definitely
that.
were not.
Even though it's a divine caster, they
Yeah.
could have given it like tongues and stuff like that, and actually got really leaned into it, and they didn't do that. The
I
other thing
think
I thought about this is
Well,
like
they
I
did.
like the
Go ahead.
I did like this class and how it's built out. The one thing that bothered me was the name, and I guess it was just me. For me, anima from the anime world is always like some kind of like physical like liquid, you know,
Oh,
like
okay.
the actual like essence
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
magic. And I wanted to double check that, so I actually looked it up, and anima just translates the soul. So
Yeah.
they are using it correctly, even though I thought of something. That's what I thought was kind of weird,
Yeah.
but
No, the animist is it's from the I know it from the 1800s, like late
yeah,
1800s, early 1900s. It's the spirit talkers. It's the read your fortune type people. Talk
yeah.
to dead spirits and so forth.
You can go a couple ways with this if Pathfinder doesn't have it already, like with witch doctors and
Yeah.
like you said, evangelicals. You can kind of follow the more traditional religious routes and come up with a lot of really cool things. And like being able to talk with spirits and use spirits is pretty cool. I
Yeah.
like this class a lot, actually.
It's kind of neat too because I skimmed through several of the feats and stuff, and it is a divine caster class. So
Yeah,
it's cleric esque, but you're not able to really wear the heavy armors and stuff. But you're also able to take feats that allow you to do melee attacks. There are spells that you can pick up that'll buff you, so you're actually able to sort of be like a cleric monk esque type character.
she's Kikurio.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I am a ninja, but I'm also gonna throw healing letters at you.
Healing shurikens
Yeah.
everywhere. Yeah, there's a lot you can do with that. I'm surprised they don't have anything like this already in Pathfinder. There's definitely nothing like this in uh D&D currently.
Yeah, the closest thing they would have to this in D&D, and it's very, very far from it, there is a subclass of the rogue that you can talk to spirits,
Well, so
and
there's the College of Spirits for the bards.
oh, okay. Well, but with the one with the rogue, you can actually swap them out every day to give you
Yeah.
access to a different skill, to give you a proficiency in a different skill. But that's pretty much it. Like it's still very, very far from what this is.
And
Uh,
also, when I look at that artwork, I guess that's not heavy armor. Maybe it's medium. It looks like a lot of wood and cloth.
are they even trained in armor? Okay, no, I stand corrected. They are trained in medium armor, so they are effectively clerics when it comes to that. Then.
I wouldn't want to get hit with that stick, man. She
Oh,
found the best branch ever and like turned it into like a dragon bird thing, and it's like just drive that into your skull.
well,
And
when we were kids, a branch like that was used as a toy gun.
yeah, did you see in the example they gave it a name? It's that she's a Nephilim.
Oh no, I
Ooh.
didn't see that. Huh. That's interesting. They would call it that because that's more akin to what our
Yeah,
next class is. We'll go ahead and
Next class is
the
Maui.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The next class is the exemplar, and
Maui.
the exemplar have divine spirit. They have a fragment of divinity within them. So yeah, Maui,
Maui.
and
And
they
that
literally.
drawing, that art there, Nahoa, is just Maui.
If he didn't have the spear, if he had the club, it would absolutely just be a picture of Maui.
but
If
I
I
like
if
that
I put the rock's face there, that's Maui.
Yeah.
but I like that you didn't have to get that divinity via always from blood. It says that it could have just come from like an attack or something that you survived. So a little bit of like Harry Potter there, like the
Oh
scar,
yeah. Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be. It could have been accidental, it could have been
Yeah.
consequential.
Oh
Or it could.
shit! Did you eat that fish? That was the divine fish. Now you're an exemplar.
Oh god
Oh,
damn it!
great.
So this character is actually just One Piece.
Yeah.
That's he ate what did it? What was a strawberry, a fruit, some
Yo
shit.
ho ho! He took a bite of gum gum.
Yeah. So, but it is kind of interesting. You can get the divinity in a multitude of different ways, and the idea for the character is to be something of legend. Maui from Moana. Uh, Hercules would be another reasonable example. King Arthur would be an example of something like this. Like you have that divine spark for whatever reason, and you're able to actually utilize its power. This one's
So,
it's
are you telling me I can kill eels, bury their guts, and grow coconuts?
Yeah,
probably yeah.
but it also gives you particular rules for like going the other way with it too. You don't have to be good. You can turn that into infamy too.
You could be you could be a ball spawn, in Forgotten Realms or Bane spawn. Um,
Mm.
it's kind of neat though because you focus this power through items, and there's body icons, and the icon is the item that you focus the power through. But there's body icons, which are a mark on your flesh of some sort. There's worn icons, clothing, Wonder Woman's bracelets, or there's a weapon icon, which would be like Maui's club or Excalibur. And it allows you using these, you can do different things with them, allowing you to do quite literally almost godlike abilities. Bruce
Especially at
was
higher ages. Yeah.
specifically the higher you get, because you were reading through them earlier, and we came across feat at 14th level, and it is kind of a neat little feat that you can pick up called Infinite Blades Celestial Arrow, which sounds very anime when you think about it. Like right,
Yeah.
you're watching an anime, somebody yells that out right before they do this. Uh, but what it does is you fire an arrow that multiplies into a dense cloud of weapons. You make a ranged strike against each enemy you are aware of within your weapon's first range increment. So just thinking, if you're using, say, a longbow, that first range increment might be 100 feet. So every enemy within 100 feet, you would make an attack against them. And each attack counts towards your multiple attack penalty, but do not increase your penalty until you've made all of your attacks. All damage dealt by this is spirit damage. I actually had to look spirit damage up because I had never heard of that one. And apparently it just affects creatures with a spirit, so no constructs. But yeah, effectively he just shoots at everything in range.
So it's an AOE.
Yeah, it's just an AoE attack. It's a feat. It's not even it's something you could literally do every turn. It's not a spell. Hope you have a lot of arrows.
Yeah. Well, you just got to have the one because then it
Oh yeah,
splinters.
that's right. It multiplies. Never mind.
So my eyes got down to this one feat. I think it's a level 12 feat
All right.
called Warped by Rage,
Yeah.
and then the Transcend ability is called Spasm of the Berserker.
Yeah, it is. Your body warps beyond recognition into a powerful one-eyed form. You remain under the effects of Enlarge and also gain the effects of a 6th rank Moon Frenzy until the end of your next turn, except that you can't attempt to end the effect early. I don't even know what a Moon Frenzy is. I'd have to. There's a lot of stuff I've seen in here that I am not familiar with. And mind you, I don't know everything Pathfinder 2e, so some of it might be older stuff I just am not familiar with. But some of this stuff I think is new. Like
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that spirit damage thing. Uh, I've never come across that. The Moon Frenzy could easily be something else in this class that we just haven't looked at yet.
Yeah. Maybe. Because they mentioned earlier when on one of the lower ones you can split your weapon, your icon into two,
Yeah,
and one's gonna be sun and one's gonna be moon. So I'm sure that there might be some kind of tie in there.
yeah, and that was another one I had to look up just to figure out how it worked. The I think it was it Twin Stars? Yeah,
Yeah, twin stars.
yeah. Like all it did was give you two weapons, which and then it said they were twin. They had the twin trait, which was one I hadn't heard of. And apparently, with the twin trait, it's kind of neat. If that weapon deals 2d6 damage, so you make that first attack, and then if you attack with the other weapon, then it will get a +2 to its attack roll because it had 2d6. If it was 3d6, it would get a +3, 4d6, a +4. So
And then there was that feat where you could twin birds or something like that, and they would both fly out toward your thing and
Yep.
make it flanking. And then if they both hit, you got an extra
Yeah.
die of damage.
Yeah, and that feat is a level 10 feat called Mated Birds in Paired Flight. I think the names for the feats for this class are the best I've ever seen.
Yeah, there's one here that says break the sun's legs.
Yeah.
7 colored cosmic bridge. We have eternity incinerating
Strike rivers, seize
blood.
winds.
Like whoever came up with this class, I don't even care if the class is good. But fucking top notch on the naming of the feats. One other thing that was interesting to me, and they've sort of harped on this when talking about this thing, is that this is actually a rare class. So if you exemplar, it actually has rarity, and it says rare. And
Yeah.
I'm at a loss as for how the hell that's going to work. Is it going to be like I know some Star Wars games are very, very keen on not allowing Jedi. Either that or you can only have like one Jedi in the party. That's the rare
Yeah.
class. So I could understand, having just one of these as that rare class, but who the hell gets to play it? How do you decide that? Just roll off?
Well,
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
like when it came to Star Wars, it really was the GM's discretion. But there are a couple different ways you could basically have everybody do a roll like that and see who was force sensitive, and then while they're playing, use that force sensitivity to kind of like change the results in positive or negative ways, and then have them discover that they're force sensitive, and leave it at that. When I played Star Wars, um, not the last Star Wars game, the Star Wars game before that, we, the question was put out, like, who wants to play, does anyone want to play a Jedi? I don't mind having a Jedi in the group, and no one wanted to be a Jedi.
I mean,
And then
yeah, I get
I
that.
didn't want to be a Jedi either, and I ended up being the Jedi. I was like, you know what? If I spin it like this, I'm just an archaeologist without a lightsaber. Will that work? And yeah, that would work. And I was the non-Jedi, or I was the non-Jedi Jedi. So like you
You
would
have
only
force powers, but not any of the other shit that goes with being a Jedi.
But also,
well, I had a lightsaber, and I had basically the light a blade version of the lightsaber that I could use all my lightsaber stats for. So like when I got into combat, I was a melee combatant and using all my lightsaber skills with a blade. And if I ever turned on the lightsaber, everyone, all the bandits and killers and smugglers and bounty hunters and Empire would know, and they would come kill me. So I never turned it on. And I would assume that maybe the exemplar or something like that too, where like you would have one of them in your party,
Yeah.
or you would have everyone be an exemplar,
Yep.
and run
yeah.
around and kind of like have that story be that.
Yeah.
And that's where they said that part of the one way you become exemplar could be your game master, your dungeon master, because it was something that was done to that PC. So it could have just been a regular PC, and they survived some kind of like something, and then that residual energy was left with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like how I like to use warlocks a lot in D&D. Like I like the idea of like someone becoming beholden to a pact, and then through that pact getting a lot of powers. But I don't like them starting off that way. You're like, oh, I made a pact with a demon, and I'm just a warlock. I like the warlock to come through during play. Like, oh shit, we're in a shitty situation. Oh, the demon here will give me powers if I give him my soul, and I can save my friends. Okay, that sounds great. But there's no like really good version of that in D&D currently.
Yeah.
So this would
No,
kind of be like, to me, I would use this that same way. Like, here's God coming down. It's like, hey, you want to be my divine champion? I'll help you out, but you gotta do stuff for me.
I mean,
Yeah.
you could do it something similar that I've kind of grafted over the years with like when people are doing character creation, and they make their characters and stuff like that, but they want a multi-class. I always have them do a percentile roll, and so like because with sorcerers that is something that it was innate with you. Psionics is as well. It's not really it's not learned. So I would roll to see if they're even had the ability to do it. So
Yeah.
later down the line, if a special move happened or they did really good or something like that, if they did have that in their thing, I'm like, I would throw a little bonus on there, like, hey, as you did that, all of a sudden your hands grew and you also did your attack, but you also had burning hands coming out of you. From now on, if you wish, you could try to develop that and take sorcerer rolls, or you did something psionically while you were doing something and you are able. I gave it to the PCs if they wanted to add that to it, but that was there the whole time, they just didn't realize it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very curious about this class. As I haven't dived all the way through it, I'm curious, one, if it's going to be better than other classes, since it's a rare class, and two, you needed a very experienced role player to play this for a couple of reasons.
Yeah.
Because this is the kind of character you're King Arthur, you're Maui, you are going to take over whether you're better than everybody else or not. But you know, charisma, charisma wise, you need to be able to take over situations. You are going to be the leader of your group, and
Yeah,
that's good if you have somebody who knows how to lead but not overwhelm all the other players in the process.
yeah,
uh,
and we didn't get to see what their attacks, how they're built out, so we don't know. We could be balancing the other end. You might get all these special powers, but maybe you get less attacks, per.
yeah, like I haven't read through all the feats, but just looking at the basic stuff, it doesn't seem really any more powerful than any of the other classes I've seen.
Yeah,
I would imagine it's the feats that might break it. But yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
that's why it's out
no,
here for a play test.
that level 20 feat at the very end. What's it called?
Uh,
A place beyond mortality, where you die, and you just come right back up.
I mean, at level 20, I
Yeah.
don't. So requirements: you have at least one focus point in your focus pool. Your domain is not just a representation of your power, but of your divine essence and the potential immortality that essence represents. You cease aging, and in D&D, that's pretty common at 20th level.
Mhm.
When you would die for any reason, you can immediately expend all of your remaining focus points as a free action that can be taken at any time and regardless of your current condition to survive at 0 hit points. Purge yourself of any negative conditions. When you do, you heal yourself for half of your total hit points, stand back up in your current space, instantly summon your weapon icon to your hand, and shift your eminence to any of your icons. This also screams anime
yeah,
because you have the isekai type anime where your guy just finally gets his ass beat and then just summons his power and wins.
Yeah.
yeah. It's the
I mean,
fighting spirit.
level 20. So you're right. Like, why wouldn't you be able to do that? But imagine if that was shifted down to like 12 or
Oh no, yeah.
14.
Uh, I could see maybe doing it at 14, but come back at 1 hit point, not summon your weapon, not shift your eminence, nothing like that.
Listen, sometimes Krillin has to die to get the super awesome powers, and you
There
have to
was
let that happen.
there was a feat in Pathfinder 1 for a barbarian that was seldom used, but essentially, if you went into the negative, you had the choice of your hit points that you could go as much negative and keep going as you want. But once combat was done, if you were at negative 23, then your
Blark.
total hit points went down 23. So, like, if you had 98 points, if you decided to not, fall, if you wanted to stay up, you would reduce forever your total hit points,
Yeah.
your cap for that level. So like there was a little bit of like, ooh, like I like that flavor, not a lot of people would do it, but
No, not if you're losing permanent hit
Yeah.
points.
That
5e actually has something similar to that with the frenzied berserker, where if when you start raging, you never go down until you fail like a Constitution check. Once you're at negatives, and
yeah.
the number does get higher every time you do it. So typically, you're only going to be able to succeed 2, maybe 3 times. but it still makes it a lot harder to kill a frenzied berserker.
It's one
Yeah.
of my favorite tropes in anime. Goku with his Kaioken, where like when he goes into it, he's supposed to basically be pulling his life force through and using it up and burning out his body. Luffy with all his gears is the same way. And I always like the trope, but then it never matters at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like Goku's done Kaioken so much that his life should be shortened by half, yet now he can't age anymore because Saiyans don't do that, you know. So they always find some weird way around it, but I've always liked that concept. You know, you're borrowing from the future to win all your current battles, but you need to die. If someone could figure out a way to make a barbarian where every time they raged and had all these awesome powers, it like started skimming off the top levels of their being able to level up.
Yeah.
So let's like say you keep doing it a lot, and by the time you reach like level 12, that's your max level. You did it so much, you've lost levels 13 to 20 permanently. So
See
you're
that
stuck at 12,
that
and
sounds
then
that sounds like some first or second edition D&D shit.
yeah, like it'd
I
be
see.
interesting to see something like that actually come through and be viable.
But see, I don't mind the one from Pathfinder 1 that I was talking about because, so you went down 10. It's a barbarian. I mean, the next level, they're going to get so many extra hit points anyway. Yeah, I mean, like, so, like, it's.
Yeah, but 10 hit points is one thing. Once you start knocking off 20 or 30, then
But that was
that's
your risk. That was your risk.
yeah.
I mean,
I like the feat. I like that the feat exists. I personally would never play it, but I know there are people who would use it.
I would absolutely use it.
See?
I would absolutely use it, and it'd be like, "Hey DM, is there a potion where I can increase my hit points?" No, points and con. All right.
I mean, yeah, just have to get more points in con then.
points in con, or like, there are. This is Pathfinder, so there's a Pathfinder feat called Toughness that
Yep.
gives you 3 hit points extra each level you take.
Yeah, and barring all of that, then you start making deals with devils to get more hit points and start role playing to survive.
Then I become a vampire, and then I become a
Yes,
werewolf.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm a
That's how.
half vampire, half werewolf, half robot, half orc, and I like to eat people. And every time I eat people, I get 2 hit points, and then I rage and I lose 7.
So he's half and half and half and half. I'm not sure he knows how the math works.
I didn't say he was half a mathematician.
He definitely is not that.
Besides, I don't even think they call them in Pathfinder 2. I don't even think they call them half races anymore. You just have
Yeah,
ancestry.
yeah, they've changed that.
I
That's one
have
of
the
those,
ancestry of a sword.
and that's one of those things. I don't care. Call it
I have
race,
the
call it
ancestry of a
ancestry, call it what you want.
cockroach.
I mean, yeah, ancestry of a cockroach, you never die. Nuclear
Shrimp
weapons,
is
still don't
bugs.
care.
Shrimp is bugs.
The only
All
way
right.
you die is being smushed.
Yep, is human feet.
You gotta make sure you're frenzied and you have high enough con you can survive the squish.
I mean, we already talked about it last week. You can just survive when a giant stomps on you. So, well, that's pretty much all I had to talk about this week. I know,
Ooh.
I know. Waples doesn't have anything since he's been on vacation and just walked in.
You want to talk about One Piece? I could talk about One Piece.
No, not
I,
really. Nope.
It is the
I,
greatest anime, the live action adaptation ever.
ooh.
All right. Cool.
And when you teased me earlier when you said that you brought a book on vacation, I thought you meant a different book.
Oh no, those still haven't arrived in the mail yet. Soon.
Damn it.
Ooh, what did you send him? Was it Pathfinder?
Soon.
No, I can't say because someone listens to the podcast. So
Oh, okay, okay.
Soon, TM.
Something we'll find out about in a future episode.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Soon.
Also, by Pathfinder.
yes.
Path what?
Or
Yeah.
as the Kinzigo guys in something, they call it Path Grinder.
It could be that. Also by DCC. Like there's so many great games to buy. I need them all. All right.
Yeah,
think
I
we're
need
done
to
here.
get that new. What is it? Shadow of the Mages. Ad
Oh,
Wizard.
I saw that one. I don't
Yeah,
remember. Also, the
that's a
Magnus.
Kickstarter. We'll find it.
Yeah. Also, the Magnus Archives has a backer kit out right now. If you're not familiar with Magnus Archives, it's a podcast where they work for an institute that it looks into the strange and unusual stuff, kind of X-Files esque. But I'm
Did I
interested in
see?
that one.
Did I see the speed run for Baldur's Gate 3 is 4 minutes and 10 seconds?
Oh, probably,
Oof.
but
Yeah.
that's sort of that's hitting a cheat ending. So it is technically an ending, but it's at the end of Act 2.
Oh,
Hmm.
oh no, they're saying that you can do it right on the original ship.
Huh.
Oh,
Okay,
found a
well,
new ending, I guess.
yeah, I'll have to find out about that one.
Yep. Baldur's
Huh.
Gate.
Yep, play that. I actually downloaded Starfield. I'm going to start on it tomorrow.
Don't play Starfield. It's crap, man.
I can't wait. I'm
It
so
doesn't
looking
have
forward
any
to
orcs or dragons in it.
it. But it has laser guns and robots and
There's
spaceships.
You mean
laser guns and
do you,
robots and spaceships in Baldur's Gate 3.
do you mean Starfinder? The Paizo's
Oh yes, but yeah, they're
spaceship.
actually that was one other thing I wanted to mention was they're actually coming out with second edition Starfinder. Which,
Ooh.
yeah, that was one of the things they announced when they announced the War of Immortals.
Eh.
Oh yeah, I will have to pick it up. I'm kind of sad because I had just started picking up first edition Starfinder stuff. I've got several of the books now, but it means I'd have to. Yeah, I never got a chance to run it.
Well, Jay, this is gonna be a big ask, but if you ever come across the Carrion Crown Adventure Path, I want to run it, and then you can have the books back and sell them because each book is about $125.
I doubt I'd sell them. I'd probably keep them if it's Starfinder.
No, not for Starfinder. It's for Pathfinder 1
Oh, so same deal. I'd probably keep it. But
because they're hard to find and everyone loves it. It's the first time they did like a horror-based adventure path,
oh, okay.
and it was really well done.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out for them. If I see it, I will try to pick it up if it's reasonable. I'm not paying $120 for it, but
No, but like if you're out like people's collections, like you said, you
yep.
just
Yeah, I do occasionally get collections. So. All right, guys. I think that's it for this weekend or week or what day is it? It's Labor Day.
it's Labor Day.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for listening. Bye, Craig. Bye, Bruce.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Thanks for joining us, our guest Christopher Waples.
Yay! I'll be grumpy next week.
Yep.
Still riding off the high of the vacation.
Hell yeah. All right. Later, guys.
Bye.
Bye.